So, hello, folks. Welcome. Really glad to be here. Fabulous opportunity. So, I'll say two things before I start. Ramapo College is a small public liberal arts college in northern New Jersey. We're a liberal arts college, and we have a student body of about 6,000 students. I've been here for about 10 years. I'm a professor of sustainability. I've been doing sustainability most of my life, certainly since I was about 20 years old. And it's been a wonderful journey. I've learned a lot of things. And what I'm going to do here is two things. I'm going to share some of the lessons I've learned over the years here at Ramapo College doing campus sustainability. And then I'll show you some of the complex and intricate webs that we have spun at Ramapo College over the past few years using those lessons. So I'm not going to speak so much about specific innovative ideas for Campus Sustainability Month. The way I see it, it used to be that professors were deliverers of content. That's no longer the case. Google does that work for us. You can find lots of good ideas on the web. You don't need me to give you that. What I'm going to do is try to deepen the conversation around sustainability at your campuses. I'm speaking specifically to those folks that are resource constrained, both in terms of money and in terms of staff. So if you're a lone voice, if you have zero budget, then that's what I'm talking about. And my interest is centrally focused on the work of building and strengthening collaborative relationships. I decided a long time back that I had to play the long game, and I had to invite others to join me. So I'm going to present you with a binary, and like most thinking people, we know that binaries are irrelevant, but it's a device, and it allows me to do some work. And the two choices that I'm presenting you with broadly, either we do a few big projects, or we do many small dinky little pokes. I'm not sure that one is better than the other, but I've chosen to walk the latter path of dinky little pokes. And in walking this path, I've come to a few insights, and I'm going to share those with you in the hopes that it might help you to deepen the conversation on your campuses. The first thing is about relationships. So I do complex systems thinking. That's my work as a professor. And what I've learned is that the degree of complexity of a system is less about the number of parts it contains, but rather is more about the quality and quantity of relationships that tie it together. So you've got to celebrate your partnerships. Engaging with stakeholders in a way that matters to them, invite participation as broadly as you can, care about the fabric of the campus, pay attention to the threads. The fabric will look after itself and the patterns will emerge. And probably the most important lesson that I've learned is I refuse to hear the word no. I just will not hear it. It rolls right over me. Persistence pays deeply. Keep coming back again and again, but differently each time, in a different way. And always with respect and always with empathy. Try to understand why people are saying no to you and come back with an alternative way of framing the problem. And I found this to work quite well. The other lesson that I've learned is about money. Big chunks of money are wonderful. Look for them, always. But 15 small chunks can do as much as one big chunk can. And you get the added advantage of building relationships in the process of cobbling those 15 chunks together. Many hands make for light work. We all know this. The lesson that I've learned as a planner is that the key to successful leadership in campus sustainability is to distribute power as widely as possible. Don't hoard it. Spread it out. Empower people to take action. Decentralize your leadership. Mobilize the focal power of many minds. And when everybody does a little bit, a lot gets done, and it builds deep relationships. So encourage ideas. diverse ideas. They come at me from all directions. We have one professor came to me and said, I'm really interested in this fair trade conversation. So I said, start something, do something about it. And I'd give her the resources and the skills and the web space to be able to deliver a fair trade campaign. We have a real food campaign. We have a student-led zero waste campaign. We have a bird strike mitigation program. Lots of glass buildings on campus. We recycle cigarette butts. We encourage and enable student activism. The September 20th strike is a big deal on our campus, right? And I'm doing this with relatively few resources and without a staff. And while I'm teaching at the same time and doing all the other things, community work and so on and so forth, that all professors do. Probably the most important thing you can do is mobilize your student body. Encourage and initiate multiple clubs, not too many, but more than one or two. Clubs usually get access to resources. Specifically, they get a budget. That's stuff that will add to your movement more quickly than anything that you could do to build your own budget, right? And the trick to robust club management, I managed, not manage, but I enabled 3 clubs on our campus. And the way I enable them is by putting a clear succession plan in place. I make sure that in the spring semester, they do the handoff of leadership so that over the summer break, they're geared up and ready to come back in the fall, ready to roll. Student government is really important. Build relationships with your student government body. If you can, talk about the possibility of a standing sustainability position, whether a senate or a secretary or something of that sort. Build collaboration on all fronts with students. They are ultimately your currency of work. And build partnerships. Build as many partnerships as you can. I reach out to everybody. The Women's Center, the Crane Center for Mindfulness, the Rukma Center for Study Abroad, the Center for Student Involvement, the Center for Student Success, Civic and Community Engagement. The great thing about sustainability is that it touches every aspect of the human experience. And that's what enables me to build the partnerships that I do. I'm always doing sustainability work, even as I talk to various people. Institutional researchers, happy to help. They're most often ignored on campuses. And what you find is that, in fact, they are itching to help you gather data, collaborate on surveys, do the work that you want done in terms of measuring the culture of sustainability. And at the end of the day, remember this one lesson. Sustainability can pay for itself in the early days. This is the carbon abatement curve by McKinsey and Company. And what they did was in a series of analyses that showed that if you line up all the things that you need to do to abate carbon, and you order them in terms of savings and cost, you can line them up in such a way that the first half saves you money and the second half costs you money. Then you can bank the first half of the money and use it to pay for the stuff that's going to cost you. Do the cheap stuff first. Do the stuff that saves you money first, but bank that money. If not actually, then in terms of social capital. And thus we come upon Ramapo Green, the campus sustainability hub. So I've chosen Ramapo Green as the brand for campus sustainability. And my original plan was to leave some time for questions. I was going to break at this point and change the tempo a little bit. I have about 60 slides in total. I've been through about 20 so far with you. And this is really the sum total of my presentation. The rest is background material that will be available to you offline. I will scroll through it and tell you what's on each slide so you can go back and refer to it later, but I'm not going to present on it. And I'd like to leave the rest of the time open for questions and for discussion, which I hope we'll have plenty of time for. So students get to hook up with sustainability in a number of ways. We send them to the Ramapo Green web page, which is the hub for sustainability at Ramco College. There's a sustainability pledge they can take that signs them up for the newsletter. There's a Facebook page and a LinkedIn page. And of course, there's all the social media stuff, but I won't talk about that right now. So we encourage them to become active, doing things on campus with sustainability. And the 3 clubs I mentioned, One Step, Students Together for Environmental Progress, Beekeeping Club, and the Garden Club. We have an arrangement with the campus wall, mycampuswall.com. And if you go there, you can set up an account and with your institutional email, and you can give away stuff, you can buy stuff, you can sell stuff, so on and so forth. We work with dining services. So really interesting things begin to happen when you work with people and empower them. So my dining services people, Sodexo, who are amongst the best in the business at some campuses, right? I go to them and we have extended conversations about compostable dinnerware. Ultimately, they come to a point where they say that compostable plates are cheaper than plastic plates. They're willing to make them the default setting for catered events, and people will have to pay extra for plastic plates, the black plastic stuff that you get for formal events, so-called catering events. Vegan and vegetarian options are growing as students ask for it. That's the key. Plastic, single-use plastic of all kinds. The Sodexo has phased out straws at our campus in favor of sippable lids. We work with anybody, including the president's office and the office of the provost. Find the things they want to do, link them back to campus sustainability, and you have a project ready-made to run. Facilities is gold. So they're doing sub-metering of the residence halls that will allow us to do all kinds of contests and things like that. We have a 5 megawatt solar array that on a sunny day is capable of meeting the campus's entire energy needs. We don't own the panels, but we moved the needle. And we've created a conversation piece for students to look at and experience every day as they park their cars. A ton of other things that are going on, little things. One club came in with the idea of doing they got a grant to do 1 bottle filling hydration station. I got facilities to say that if this hydration station got substantial use in the future, every time they had to replace a fountain, they would replace it with a hydration station. So now we have a campus full of hydration stations, right? We have various things that to do with energy, central chilling plant. We have a building with an ice storage system. So at night, when electricity is cheap, they freeze water into ice. In the daytime, in the summer, when electricity is expensive during peak, they use the ice to cool the building. There's a ton of innovative stuff that's going on, usually in facilities, usually untalked about, and usually requiring some attention from you. My job is to take what they're doing already and shine a spotlight on them. I'm not doing any of these projects. They're doing the stuff. They've been doing it for years. It's the stealth operation of the century. We're committed to zero waste. We periodically run repair cafes. We insist that reduction and reuse must come before recycling. Given the current atmosphere in the United States with recycling, that's just as well. And we do need to move towards a zero waste culture. We come to all kinds of little things. Recycled paper is cheaper than virgin paper. So most of our departments order recycled paper. We have paper reduction campaigns in place. Dining services really recently implemented a bunch of changes because an RFP was issued, and we were able to influence that RFP to make it more sustainability oriented. Recycling in residence halls, we do door-to-door pickups. We do composting in the village in the CPA where there are apartments and kitchens, and we do door-to-door pickups of food waste once a week. We do a move out event at the end of every spring. We're still trying to get to a place where we can do a move in event in the fall, but we've got the move out event thing worked out fairly well by now. And it's taken time. The students do the work. I just enable them. I show them how to do it. And I pave the way for them to do the work. Student government has created a Secretary for Sustainability position. They've taken a number of legislative actions to promote recycling. We work with athletics. We're getting the Green Sports Alliance as a membership being finalized now. We're looking for athletes who can be a bridge between sustainability and Ramco Green. And we do a bunch of recycling kinds of promotions at major sports events. We do composting on campus, small operations, but they add up. And then we have a sustainable living eco-stewardship program, which does community housing, composting, community dinners, volunteers, etc., etc. And recycling, and the clubs. And the beekeeping club is gold. It always, the honey that we produce is the best in the region. They've won awards on it. We have wildflower meadows that we've planted. The garden club helps manage all this. And then, of course, there's AASHE. Let's not forget, our ultimate resource for all things sustainability. And here in New Jersey, we have the New Jersey Higher Education Partnership for Sustainability, which helps students to localize their initiatives as well. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. This is the contact information for me. You'll get the entire presentation as a file. And I'd like to hand it back to Daita now for discussion. Thank you, folks.
Thank you so much, Billy and Shwani, for sharing your expertise with us. We will go to questions. But before we start, I just wanted to say that regardless of the size of your campus or your location, your environment, your budget, etc., there is something that everyone can do to engage with your campus community and to engage also with the larger sustainability and higher education community. And I feel very inspired about all the good lessons that we heard today. And I encourage everyone on the webinar to plug into this event. It provides an excellent opportunity to recruit new leaders and set goals for the rest of the year. It's not necessarily meant as a, you know, 1 day or 1 month thing, because sustainability doesn't happen just like that. But it provides an opportunity to jumpstart maybe some projects and initiatives. And then we hope to hear all about them around Earth Day, which is meant to be a time of celebration and recognition of the good work that took place over the course of the academic year. And there were some questions on, you know, how do you share events? So a couple of years ago, we used to have a form where you could submit your events. We don't no longer do that, but you can use the hashtag Campus Sustainability Month and also share your pictures or projects into the hub. And if you have a really interesting project or initiative come out of this work, submit it as a case study next spring to be considered for an AASHE Sustainability Awards. And we just announced the finalists for this year's awards this week. So I will turn now to our audience for questions. So there is one more that I will address. We do not have a theme for Campus Sustainability Month, so we moved away from having a specific theme, so to give campuses more liberty to, you know, to use it as they think it will work for them locally on their campus. I have a question on succession, so I will have Ashwani go first, and then Billy, and I also have some comments. So do you have some plans or documents that you can share, or tips that you use for succession planning? Because that is a major issue for some of our attendees.
It is the critical issue. when it comes to students, because students turn over, right? They graduate regularly. Every year they graduate. What are you going to do about it? So I don't have any documents, but I'm happy to talk. So give me a call, shoot me an email, and we can talk about it. The basic story is really simple. Okay, you've got to make sure that the elections are early enough in the spring semester so that by the end of the spring semester, the new leadership team has been identified. Put in place a communication platform. Students like to use GroupMe. I don't like it. I prefer Slack. It allows you to create folders and conversations and private channels and all that stuff. So set up a communication channel before the summer starts. Over the summer, students go away, they work, they play, they do all kinds of fun things. They come back in the fall. They should be ready to go. That's the secret to succession planning.
Really?
At KCTCS, we struggle with student engagement in general because we are a commuter institution. Our colleges are non-residential. Most of our students work, so even engaging students is an issue. Something that we have found that is working is social media. Not necessarily addressing the succession planning of student organizations, but we struggle with that. I have nothing else to add. We just struggle with that.
Yeah, it's
I should say one thing, Daita.
yeah, go ahead.
It took me 3 years to find a rhythm that worked. Okay. I know as a planner that succession planning is really important, and we cut it short shrift. But it took me 3 years to find a rhythm that actually works. And I'm not even sure that next year it's going to work as well as it worked this year. We'll see. Time will tell. It's a learning curve.
Indeed, it's an issue that many of our campuses struggle with, not just with student organizations, but even with sustainability committees and how to keep, that going, or when leadership changes and so on. So, you have to have some maybe records or take notes of how you do things and have them available for the next round of students or sustainability committee members, or even when the leadership changes. So there's another question on how to reach staff for engagement with sustainability, because they're a little staff and faculty, they're a bit of a different group than students. Do you have any specific examples or good practices on reaching out staff? So let's have Billy go first this time, and then Oshwani.
Our methods for reaching out to staff is really a little bit more, I don't want to say it's unique. Since our sustainability contacts at our colleges tend to be staff or faculty who have been given leave time to do sustainability, it's easier for them to reach out to their colleagues. So we don't have necessarily that same struggle that some of you might have who are in paid sustainability positions at a college or university. One of the things that I had to do when I first began the sustainability initiative at KCTCS is I requested meetings with key leaderships at each of the colleges. And I went in and explained what we were interested in doing. We weren't interested in telling them what to do as much as we were looking for ways to complement what they were already doing. So it was and in addition, we weren't interested in, developing a plan for them. We wanted them to develop a plan that was unique to their respective college and culture. So you request meetings. As Aswani said, be persistent. Don't take no for an answer. You know, look for those commonalities. Okay, so maybe he or she's not interested in sustainability, but maybe he or she's interested in energy. You know, sustainability and energy go hand in hand. Learn their language, talk their language.
Could I ask what was the question? My computer crashed on me, so I had to go to plan B.
Sure. It was about reaching staff for engagement with sustainability because they're a little bit of a different group than the students.
True, true. So I have my entire operation at Rampo College is based out of the President's Committee on Campus Sustainability. That's it. That's the only platform that I have at Rampo College to move campus sustainability forward is the President's Committee on Campus Sustainability. And I've gotten managers, senior managers from all the sections to participate in that committee. I'm told by feedback that mine is one of the most productive committees because every time we do something, right? If you can deliver action consistently, small things, don't aim big, dinky little pokes, people will come and play. People want to feel satisfied. People want to feel like they're contributing something. And if you give them the opportunity, they will play. That's my lesson learned.
Thank you. And I'd like to add a couple of bits that we've heard from other examples. For example, if you're running any campus sustainability tours, make sure that staff can actually participate. So have them maybe early in the morning or during lunchtime when they can attend. Maybe you want to organize a speaker series throughout the year that is also maybe geared specifically to staff. So you know, you can think about topics that the staff that you want to actually reach would be interested in. Include them on all the outreach, even if the event is maybe geared to students. They may be interested and clarify that they're welcome to any event or to use any resources that may, you know, be perceived as being just for students. And also include some of your information on the sustainability or how can they engage with your office into new employee orientation. That's another way that where you can reach them right from the beginning when they come on campus. So there is also a question on metrics. So do you use a metrics dashboard to track progress? And this was specifically for Billy because you have 15 campuses. Do you have, you know, how do you track progress on each campus? Do you have a metrics dashboard or another way of tracking progress?
We do have a metrics dashboard, and it's called AASHE Stars. When we developed our sustainability framework, again, it was developed keeping the local autonomy of the colleges in mind, and we asked them to develop local sustainability plans based on AASHE stars, telling us how they were going to achieve each level of the stars of AASHE stars rating, and giving us a timeline of when they were going to do that. And as the AASHE stars is updated, then we expect the campus sustainability plans to be updated as well. Now, we don't require them to report to be stars reporters. Some of them are in better budget situations than others, but that is the foundation of our sustainability initiative is AASHE stars.
Thank you. And stars reporters are actually those that don't have to pay. So yeah, that's the free version. So Ashwani, do you have a way to track progress besides AASHE stars?
I'll tell you one thing. This is my personal bias. I was never a data person in my academic life. I tell stories. And so I tell stories when I'm told, you know, what did you do this year? I spin a narrative, right? That's how I do it. So yes, metrics are really important. Yes, I need to get better at it. But my objective for the first few years has been to build a culture of sustainability. And for that, metrics get in the way. I would rather wait till I have a culture of sustainability and then I'll put the metrics into place. I know STARS is there. I've dabbled in it a little bit, but I've never actually used it to report. We'll get there with time.
Thank you very much. And we are at the end of our questions for the panelists, but there is one more that I will address before we conclude today's webinar. And that is on the promotion that we do every year for Campus Sustainability Month on in collaboration with Bullfrog Films, and that will be available again this year, but it's not on the website yet. I believe it will be promoted next week. So if you are interested in that promotion, make sure you're subscribed to our newsletters, to the weekly bulletin, and also our emails, and check the websites. I know that there is, I think, there's a form, and the first 25 campuses that fill out the form will get some free movies for screening for Campus Sustainability Month. So before we conclude the webinar, though, I'd like to let everyone know about our next webinar, which will take place in a week, next Wednesday. And this webinar will showcase a new model for funding renewable energy generation on campuses by leveraging student funds for a twist on a power purchase agreement. So you can learn more about this webinar and our other professional development offerings on our website, and I hope you'll join us again. Thank you to our panelists and to everyone who attended today. If you have additional questions, please email them to education@aashe.org, to the presenters directly, or to me at darita.sergey@aashe.org. As I mentioned at the beginning, the recording and presentation materials will be available in the AASHE Campus Sustainability Hub tomorrow, and you'll receive a notification once they're uploaded. Have a good day, everyone.
Take care, folks. It's been a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.